Ginagay, Yamdurugin, Garagayu. Hello, welcome. Nice to see your lovely faces. Some new, some yet again. Welcome to Yumi Wansolwara. You and me, one salt water. It's our annual Sugar Fest celebration. Before we get going, I just would like to introduce myself. My name is Danny Togo. I'm the Vice Chair of Australian South Sea Islanders Port Jackson. I identify as Aboriginal and South Sea Islander. Aboriginal by way of the Yellow Rock Mission people of Urunga, south of Coffs Harbour, sitting on Goombunga land. And South Sea Islander by way of the islands from Vanuatu of Ombe, Santo and Tanna. I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of this land that we hold this wonderful event on today, the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation. I'd also like to acknowledge elders past, present, and those emerging. I'd just like to acknowledge the fact that this land that we hold this wonderful gathering on is and always will be Aboriginal land. Thank you. Just a few housekeeping rules before we get on the way. To my left, over here with Cami, we have fruit, snacks, we have water. Supplied by Woolies. We also, from the Elements Bar and Grill across the road, we have food on the table there. It's they've worked hard for it, so it's all nice and hot and ready to go. They've also got water there as well. Down the back, I'm going to stand back. Down the back there we have okay, better. Down the back there we have, because this is a fundraising event, we have the lovely ASSI PJ board members down the back there. And they've got an array of beautiful t-shirts, hats, boomerangs, and a few other things there for sale. So just wander around down there and see Melina, Eva and Renee. I think Shola's down there too. So let's get this on the way. Could I call up the Sydney Harbour Elder to do Welcome to Country, Mr. Mark Merriman.
Yeah, I'd like to welcome you here today on behalf of my ancestors, both past, present and emerging, the Eora Nation and the 29 clans within it, one being the Gadigal people. I welcome you here today. On top of that, I'd like to acknowledge and pay my respects to the City Council, Team Clover Moore, Arnhem Elder on doing a fantastic job with the community. Always has, always will be. There's a few more. Alice Greenwich, I'd like to thank him for coming along. Also Clover, if she's here or not, I'd like to acknowledge her. Kem Zumalowski, that runs the program. Gamarada, I'd like to acknowledge him. I'd like to acknowledge also Mary Mortimer, that does a lovely job in the community of Pyrmont. And also the Harris Centre, Oscar down there. This day is a day of reflection of the past and also the future as moving forward in the first voice of coming to Parliament, which is a referendum that's coming up this year. Truth-telling is a way of us of moving forward and trying to heal our scars. The truth has to be told on both sides of the story. As you know, there's two sides to each story. And when it was colonised, there was horrible things done. Also over here with the South Sea Islanders, with the blackbirding, where 60,000 men were enslaved on a hot day like this, doing sugar cane and turning it into treacle. You can imagine it, they were getting paid thruppings while the others were on a normal westernized wage, so to speak. But yeah, just a day of reflection. And how I can put it this way is my brother passed away on the 27th of December. And my grandson was also born later that night. So today is a kind of a day that I reflect on, because the day that I have to remember on the 27th of December is a day of mourning and also a day of celebration, which is hard. And this is what we have to do. This is the only way I could put it forward. There'll be a smoking done, and the smoking to Aboriginal people are a very important purpose. Mr. Mike Butler, my brother, he will explain exactly what's happening when we do the Welcome to Country. The easiest way to explain it to you is if you're a Catholic, it's just like the priest coming along and putting the holy water on you, or like that. Okay, and so enjoy the day, have a good day, and please just reflect on the past and also the present, and let's all move forward as one, with not inclusion, with infusion. Okay, we all got to get along. This country is a beautiful country, always has, always will be Aboriginal land. Thank you.
G'day, I'm the Mike Butler that Uncle Mark mentioned in his speech. I'm an Inangai man from central Queensland. I've lived down here for the past 50 years and I call this my home. So I'm an Inangai man living on Gadigal land, and I'd like to give thanks for that. Uncle Mark has been kind enough to allow me to explain to you what smoking's about and what welcome's about. When we do traditional smoking, this is to welcome you onto the land. We believe that the smoke, this smoke is the smell of this land. So when you walk through this smoke, I want you to push it up onto your skin, and I want you to get it onto your skin. I want you to smell it, because this is the smell of the land. And the reason why I want you to get it onto your skin, it's because the land will recognise you are part of it. And this is the reason why we do smokings. I'm going to invite whoever wants to come up to walk through the smoke, and just be aware of what I said. This is the smoke of the land. You walk through this smoke with Uncle Mark, and this will show the land that you are part of the land. So anybody who wants to get up, or we'll probably go for a walk. We'll go for a walk, and we'll see you all soon. Yeah.
Mark and Mike will be walking around, so just feel free to approach as they come up to you. Give yourself a smoking. Hello there. Welcome back. I'd like to call up Bennett Diop and Melissa Faro to do acknowledgement of country in Bishlama.
Yeah, right in it? Both of them or just the one?
Well, whichever one you want to use.
Okay, cool. I'll go first. Afternoon now. Good afternoon, everybody. Oh, good afternoon, everyone. Can I pull it up? Can you hear me? Cool. Good morning, or afternoon, sorry. My name is Bennett and I'm the Deputy Vice Chair for Australian South Sea Islander Port Jackson. On behalf of our Pacific families here today at the festival, as well as our Ni Vanuatu and Solomon Islands seasonal workers, I would like to acknowledge and thank the Gadigal people and the clans of the Eora Nation for receiving all of our peoples today and on our lands. I would also like to acknowledge the Gadigal and Eora Nation elders, past and emerging leaders. I would also like to acknowledge our deep historical beginnings, kinship and bloodlines with Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander families across Australia and all our descendants here today, known as Australian South Sea Islander peoples. Thank you to us. And Melissa Farr will now say the acknowledgement in Bishlama.
I'm a little bit shorter, so. Good afternoon, Olketa. Nemblami Melissa Farre, mi blo Vanuatu, Mr. Study mo live lo Australia. Lo behalf blo every family blo Pacific, where olista blo plesia tete lo festival today. Mo all Ni Vanuatu, mo Solomon Island seasonal workers. Mi want them acknowledge them, mo tell them thank you lo all Gadigal people, mo clans blo Eora Nation, blo save receive all people well stop tete lo lands blo yufala. Me also want them acknowledge them the Gadigal mo Eora Nation elders, past, present, with them all emerging leaders. Me want them acknowledge them all deep historical beginnings, kinship with them bloodline, all Aboriginal with them Torres Strait Island families across Australia, mo all descendants, well stop tete where you may everyone you may save also Australian South Sea Islander people. Thank you, Tomas.
Thank you, Melissa and Bennett. I'd like to call up a man that's been with us for a very long time, always helping us out with no trouble. The member for Sydney, Mr. Alex Greenwich.
Thank you very much, Danny, for the introduction, and a big thank you to Uncle Mark and Michael for the welcome to country and the smoking ceremony. I'd like to acknowledge that this land is, was, and always will be Aboriginal land, and pay my respects to elders past, present, and emerging, and those that are here with us today. I'd like to acknowledge also the members of the Consular Corps that are here today, the Australian South Sea Islander community that is here today, the Pyrmont community leaders that are here, and a particular big shout out and thank you to the tireless Imelda Davis. Can we give Imelda a big round of applause? She's always working. As many of you know, I met Imelda a couple weeks into my job as the member for Sydney about 10 years ago. And she put me right to work, as she does with many people here, and we worked to make sure the New South Wales Parliament did a formal apology for the New South Wales government's role in the blackbirding, in the slave trade that happened in New South Wales. An important moment of honesty and of truth-telling, and I greatly appreciate Imelda's leadership for that. This year, it was also a very special moment to see Imelda, a descendant of that, be now an elected councillor at the City of Sydney and see the Australian South Sea Islander flag flying above Town Hall. That was a real special moment. So thank you again, Imelda, for your leadership. So today is January 26, and we are, as a nation, really going on a journey of reconciliation, an important journey of which the referendum for the constitutionally recognised voice will be a really important moment. Today, as many people have said, is an important day of reflection. We are reflecting on the impact of colonisation. We know that colonisation costs lives, costs culture, and is an act of genocide. We should not be celebrating our National Day on a day that marks colonisation of this country. We must change that date, and we must work harder towards reconciliation. And I acknowledge also the many Melanesian people that are here today who also know the impact of that colonisation. It is really time that we learnt from the past and that we move forward into the future as a stronger nation, one that is honest about what we have done. So today, like people right across the City of Sydney, we'll be reflecting. We will be committing to reconciliation. And we will be all coming together, I hope, to finally support a constitutionally recognised voice to the federal parliament, but also so much more that needs to happen. I really thank Imelda and the Australian South Sea Islanders for the work that they do in that truth-telling, in that honesty, in bringing together, in sharing stories, but in also celebrating community and culture. Today is a wonderful moment to be part of here, and I thank you all for attending, and I look forward to continue to work with you towards this reconciliation journey.
Thanks, bud. No worries. Thank you. Thank you, Alex. Thank you again. Just like to do an acknowledgement of country. I would like to acknowledge the Gadigal people who are the traditional landowners and knowledge keepers of the land we are on today. The Gadigal are one of the 29 clans of the Eora Nation. I acknowledge Gadigal elders here today, your ancestors and emerging leaders. I acknowledge our Torres Strait Island families who are also traditional landholders of their region and kin to our Aboriginal and ASSI, Australian South Sea Islander families. I acknowledge your ancestors past, present and emerging leaders. With the invasion of the Sydney region, the Gadigal people were decimated, but their descendants are still living in Sydney today. The Dharawal people's lands are mostly confined to the area south of Botany Bay, extending as far south as the Nowra area, across to the Georges River in Sydney's west. Clans or tribes, called tribes by the Europeans, within Sydney belong to several major language groups, often with coastal or inland dialects. The major language groups of Greater Sydney were different groups, used different languages and different initiation rites. Sydney has always been a city with a high proportion of immigrants. As the town of Sydney developed into a city, the Gadigal were joined by other Aboriginal people from elsewhere in New South Wales to live, work and forge relationships within the urban Aboriginal community. This land was never ceded, always was and always will be Aboriginal land. This is the first Melanesian mini-fest presented by Australian South Sea Islanders Port Jackson. We are gratefully sponsored by National Australia Day Council. Australia Day is a day that means so much to many who have made this great land their new home and built new belongings for their families. This is a culturally significant event that reflects, respects, celebrates resilience and truth-telling for First Nations, Australian South Sea Islander and Pacific Melanesian peoples. This year's feature is supported by iComplies, Rodney Prestia and Charlie, who is here today representing the team with Team 2 String Band. Peter Terry from the Wontok Solomon Islanders Sydney organisation and the Solomon Island Dancers have also travelled far and wide to join and share a rich and diverse custom of our Melanesian peoples. These workers are in Australia as part of the Pacific Labour Mobility Program and will perform custom songs of their homelands, and for the first time are reconnecting officially with their Australian South Sea Islander and Pacific Islander families in Sydney today. We are so grateful to also have our Papua New Guinea and Fijian community and artists represented here today by artists Gary Guru and Domo Ni Kakao. None of this would be possible without our Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander families, and we pay homage to First Nations people who bear the brunt of colonialism right here in Sydney, Port Jackson, known as Ground Zero. Toby Cedar and Uncle Tat Whaleboat and their families from the Torres Strait Islands, who are also descendants of Vanuatu, Rotuma and Lifu Island in New Caledonia. Uncle Mark Merriman is our Sydney Harbour Elder for the local Pyrmont community. Auntie Margaret Campbell, saltwater woman, founder and director of Dreamtime, Southern Cross Tours, and the Deadly Danuch Aboriginal Dancers, founded by Uncle Bobby McLeod. We have Auntie Carleen Green, who will be doing traditional weaving and feathers and pandanus down near the sales desk. She's sitting there, so if anyone wants to go down and have a go at weaving with Auntie, feel free, make your way on down. I acknowledge all represented here today, our dignitaries and First Nations communities, families and friends that have travelled to be here. I am sure that I speak for all that this is going to be one deadly, tough Tumas day. Thank you. I'd like to acknowledge our sponsors for today, the National Australia Day Council, iComply Horticultural Compliance from Brisbane, Elements Bar and Grill, the Zebra Lounge and the Australian South Sea Islanders Port Jackson Board. I'd like to call up Navid from Elements to come and have a few words.
Good afternoon, everyone. I begin today by acknowledging the Gadigal people, traditional custodians of the land on which we gather here today, and pay my respects to the elders past, present, and future. I extend that respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people here today. This is a very special day as we celebrate all the things we love about Australia, our land, sense of fair go, lifestyle, democracy, the freedoms we enjoy, but particularly our people. Today, we recognize the contribution every Australian makes to our contemporary and dynamic nation here today. My name is Naveed, and I'm one of the owners of Elements Bar and Grill. This is Taz, my business partner. Today, we are supporting Councillor Imelda Davis with this event within our capacity, and we are truly humbled and honoured to be here. We have opened our doors during the tough times of COVID lockdowns, and I thank the City of Sydney and Lord Mayor Clover Moore for all their support to all small and local businesses. I also thank Alex Greenwich for being here today and for all his contributions towards this great nation and this beautiful city of Sydney. Me and my business partner are always ready to support our local community here at Pyrmont. Our restaurant is just around the corner, and we invite all you down there whenever you get a chance. We would love to extend our hospitality to you all. I will let everyone continue with this amazing event and look forward enjoying the day together. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Naveed. Thank you, Naveed. I'd like to call up from Dreamtime Southern Cross, Auntie Margaret Campbell, who does the most amazing tours of country around Sydney. We had the pleasure of being on one just before Christmas, and do yourself a favour. It's so amazing. The knowledge, the history that Auntie shares on these tours.
Way. I'm not going to repeat all the acknowledgement of countries except to say that people probably are not really aware of why it is that we do these sort of acknowledgements of country. In a nutshell, it's one of the millions of good manners that First Nations people, be they freshwater people, saltwater people. And I'm holding 2 pieces of sticks. And there's a whole range of reasons why. We value from our truth why it is that we will go and collect a piece of stick from a designated tree that's been embedded with story from our creation events, why we go and pick it up at a specific age by the elders who are instructing the young people. This is your heartbeat of where you were born in country. There is an algorithm in each tree that's got its sounds. And from that early truth-telling of a child born on that landscape, you're entitled to the custodial responsibilities of where that tree that we now hold in 2 pieces of sticks, having all sorts of artistic story representation on it, gives the truth to that child who is born into that story that has been activated from our Dreamtime custodians. So that's why we acknowledge the custodians of the past. We're speaking of our spiritual activation. And there are over 500 of those languages in this particular thing that has been rebranded without any consultation with the First Nations people that hold this heartbeat. It's embedded. From a governance point of view, you cannot sever an origin governing practice. So truth-telling is about these sorts of honesty connections with your homeland that you are born on. Be you from whatever island, South Sea Islanders, Vanuatu, England, Ireland, Scotland, does not matter. You are on the heartbeat of this landscape and it deserves its truth-telling. And if you are not able to do that from the very beginning of your activations on the journey of reconciliation with us, then it becomes almost like you're just doing and repeating the same behaviour that happened here when the Scottish and the English transported the Irish here and said, I wonder what they're doing over there when they're dancing all those dances. Oh, never mind about that. Let's just devalue that. We won't even worry about that. We'll just reject that. So people are still into the rejection and the devaluing of these basic good manners of acknowledgement, our landscape, our homeland. I don't see the possibility or the optimism or the inspiration of us moving forward because the land is constant. The land is constant. You cannot make amendments to it. Its heartbeat is there. You can't govern that. You've got to feel it and belong to it. This area is called Pirrama, and it's bordered by a freshwater river system that meanders all the way, believe it or not, from the place that's been rebranded as Redfern, the Bowlacar River, and it runs all the way down into the Dumbalong areas. So by that border, this heartbeat is still there. And if you're not even wanting to tune into that heartbeat, then you're going to miss it, as did the first people that came here uninvited 240 odd years ago. So the daily rejection of these traditions and customs and good manners is what Aboriginal people continue to feel on a daily basis. Rejection, rejection. Why is it that most Australians don't know what the heartbeat of this is? Why is it we give these little clapsticks to three-year-old children? So this is from the heart of a tree. This once was a big, long tree. And it's growing just like the trees that we see around us. The trees of Pirrama today are evidence of this creation of heartbeat. It's there. And we invite many people to understand what this truth-telling is all about. It is the story of this land, this waterways that flows through it, and the sky world up there. And it is embedded with 72 primary seasons. Fellow Australians, you are so limited in understanding. And you can blame anybody else, but not yourself. That's truth-telling. You have to own your own lack of knowledge. So these waterways, these landscapes, the skyscapes are telling us and showing us evidence-wise of the first human reactions and activations with the landscape. I'm going to ask you, does anyone know what colour water is? I say this to people on my tours every day. What colour is water? There it is. Salt water. Where's it come from? What colour is it? That's not a trick question. I can tell you that one of the colours that's in it is the black ochre clans who dance their heartbeat. And you'll see the Dunwich dancers here very shortly. And they'll be explaining to you why it is that we do these dancing and maintain these heartbeats and practices. And we're singing up the salt water. And one of the colours in that water, I can guarantee you, is black. You can go back to your Bunsen burner classrooms. The teachers will allow you to do that, and you'll find what this beautiful, magical saltwater heritage and identity is all about. This is the land of the saltwater peoples of the Eora Nation. And it's bounded by those waterways that we call the freshwater rivers. The big Burramuddigal here. And when you go further up to the Parramatta areas, the Durrock borderlines, you'll actually find the fresh water connecting with it. That's your geographical dreamtime custodial boundaries of freshwater, saltwater. It's evidenced by who we are. And every one of the other rivers around here, the big mighty North Derribin River, rebranded as the Hawkesbury, the same thing, the salt water flows through it to the areas where it meets the fresh waters. And funnily enough, our truth-telling on that is that says, okay, we can now, without a shadow of a doubt, classify the geography there. They're the freshwater mob up towards the mountains, and this mob down here to the east where the sun rises is all the saltwater people. So if you're born in that heartbeat of that, you inherit that, folks. That's what these little behaviours are all about. And why should we sacrifice this truth-telling of the story that's given to us because another human race of people says, oh, let's devalue it. We'll make new instruments for that. They're the little simple activities that we need to sit down and talk about. Because if you continue to maintain this lack of understanding that nobody's told me and not make the effort to go find out in your local community, this community of Pirrama is riddled with not only just Aboriginal First Nations people, all the other First Nations people from all those other saltwater islands that have landed here, and we're still not really understanding what that's all about. So truth-telling for me is simple. It's not complicated at all. People will take the victim attitude and say, well, I didn't learn this in school. Nobody told me that. That's a victim statement. You've got to get off your bums, and the old Australian larrikin in me says, get off your bums and go find out about it. Because that's the truth-telling of what Aussies are all about. We talk about ourselves in that context. I'm a larrikin. What the hell does that mean when it comes to the truth-telling of these areas? The Pirrama still omits all this land. You can walk over there and see the fresh water omitting out of the earth mother of this area. We do not have one Mother Earth. That's other people's stories. We have earth mothers, plural. And this Pirrama area, when it joins up to all that Dumbalong, into the Redfern Hill, that water runs downhill, all down to what has been rebranded as the Tumbalong area, the Darling Harbour area. And if you were to put that little creek that runs all the way down there into this big, magnificent Burramuddigal River, you put a circle around that, that means that's all the Dumbalong families, the Pirrama families. And I'm not just talking about human families here. Truth-telling. These trees that we originally give these to children and our dance custodians to beat the heartbeat of those stories when they dance it. All those ancestors of the tree families are still here all around Pirrama. I walk through it quite often here, telling people about it. Look at that old great-grandfather tree over there. And they'll say, what? Because we're just taught that families consist of human beings. First Nations people don't understand that ideology. We have conflict with it. And it's not just Aboriginal First Nations. I'm talking about all our First Nations that are here gathered today from their own homelands. Have got their inheritance of tree culture. What lives in the tree? What lives around the tree? What lives all beyond the trees? So I'm talking about what has been reclassified as flora and fauna. It's all still around here. Families. That's the truth-telling. If we as Australians are coming together on a journey of reconciling with that, reconcile with that. Because that's really what Aboriginal First Nations Australians are actually holding on to, the custodianship of that. And just by the birth of you being born in that freshwater river, you're entitled umbilically to that story and the heartbeat, which is why we value and treasure these. Because it comes direct from that mother who's once been a big tree. That's a different way of dealing with family. That's the nature of this heritage that belongs in this landscape, the waterwayscapes and the skyscape. That's the true Australia. And if we are going to walk together on that, it's not just about the human families, which is what the Scottish, the English, and later on the Irish transferred the values which was quite alien to this. I'm not going to bore you with the heritage of how all these big trees were the first to be chopped down here, destroying not only the Aboriginal human family, but their relatives of the trees. So we're dealing with a constant truth-telling of ourselves within our own communities to say we've got to reconcile with each other as well as reconcile with all the other myriad of civilizations that are here activating their own stories. And the origin stories that have been embedded, they're there for everyone to see, is embedded in those families. The seasonal fish out here are still there. The sun is still rising, Bayalulu. The moon, Yarnada, in the local language, they're all still rising here. And I can guarantee you their heartbeat is felt from us. It connects into our soul of who we are as First Nations people. That's our truth. And all we have wanted to do was to share it with all those First and Second Nations of people that landed here way, 240 odd years ago. So it's about us telling our truth, and for people to say, if we're to move forward in a meaningful way, we've got to find out what the stories are that they are holding, because the land is still pumping this out for us. So is the sky, and so is that waterways. So people who want to learn a little bit more about that, you can go to any one of the Aboriginal organisations in the city area, the Eora Nation. There are a plethora of us all. The Torres Strait Islanders have got theirs, the South Sea Islanders have got theirs, and we're all holding bits and pieces of what this ancient landscape is holding. So reconciliation is not only just with human beings, it's about the holding of what we belong to is the landscape. Our politicians don't get it. And that's why we're in such a state of mind in regards to reconciliation. We have a lot of work to still do with each other. I would like to see in my lifetime every grandchild born into the Australian families, human families, take on these responsibilities here of these families in a simple little gesture of making clapsticks. Not to mention the weaving baskets of our sister up there, Carleen. All that comes from the landscape, the heartbeat, the weaving materials. All that is why we celebrate it in our modern day culture of arts expression, culture expression, music expression, performance, and of course, the storytellers like myself. And I'm one of millions of us across this country that hold on to the knowledge. I am, and I've always been, a Dungurri Jerinja woman. I'm a custodian of that. For those of you who don't know where that is, a place called Arakun, Southwest Rocks, some 4.5 hours north of here, on my mother's and grandmother's side. And my grandfather on my father's side is down at a place called Wallaga Lake, the Jerinja. And the big umbilical cord that holds me together is all that big salt water, law and order, that still goes up and down, in and out. And that's where the custodianship of where elders like me hold our truth, and then we forward tell it. So all that truth telling has got to come from the base of where we are born in landscape. So I want to thank you very much for inviting me today, Imelda, and all the organisation that you are so proudly pushing forward. I love what you're doing, and I'll always be there for you and your fellow South Sea Islander people and Torres Strait Islander people. So thank you very much for inviting me to come and share this little bit of way of talking about our truth. Thank you.
Thank you, Auntie Margaret Campbell. I'd like to call upon a man that's always been with us, the drop of a hat, no problems. From Scarred Trees Indigenous Ministries, Pastor Ray Minicon.
People can hear that, eh? Just bring one of those speakers up here. Yeah. Thanks, Auntie, for that wonderful lesson in truth-telling. And before I pray, I'd like to just sing a song. I'm from the Cubby Cubby people on my father's side, Gureng Gureng on my mother's side, and my grandfather was taken from Embram Island. And my name, Minicon, comes from that island, West Embram in particular. So it's an honour to be here today. Thank you, Imelda, for making sure that our ancestors are always recognised, and especially on a day like this. Let me just sing this song. And this song is to acknowledge their journeys from the past and what happened to them My grandfather was only, I think, 9 or 10 years old when he was scooped up from the beach, put in a big ship and brought it here to Australia. Oh, pirates, yes, they rob I, sold I to the merchant ships. Minutes after they took I from the bottomless pit. But my hand was made strong by the hand of the Almighty. We forward in this generation triumphantly. Won't you help to sing these songs of freedom? 'Cause all I can ever have, redemption song. Emancipate yourselves from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. Have no fear for atomic energy, 'cause none of them can stop the time. How long shall they kill our prophets while we stand aside and look? Some say it's just a part of it. We've got to fulfill that book. Won't you help to sing these songs of freedom? 'Cause all I can ever sing, redemption song. Redemption song. Emancipate yourselves from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. Have no fear for atomic energy, 'cause none of them can stop the time. How long shall they kill our prophets while we stand aside and look? Some say it's just a part of it. We've got to fulfill the book. Won't you help to sing these songs of freedom? 'Cause all I can ever sing, redemption song. Freedom song. Redemption song. Just before I begin to pray, We acknowledge that it is Invasion Day, Day of Mourning, Sovereignty Day. And just down the road of this river here is where they declared this new nation of Australia. And I'd like to now acknowledge, from our point of view, a declaration on behalf of our people. And then I'll pray. 4 declarations. I want to declare that all Indigenous peoples are entitled, as against the whole world, to possession, occupation, use and enjoyment of the lands of their ancestors. 2, I want to declare that all Indigenous peoples are not outsiders or foreigners in their own lands. They are the descendants of the first peoples of their country, the original inhabitants, and they are to be recognised as such. Thirdly, I want to declare that none of the events of invasion, settlement, federation, or the advent of foreign citizenship laws have displaced the unique position of Indigenous peoples with their lands. And fourthly, I want to declare that Indigenous peoples have a unique connection to their country. It is not just ancestry or place of birth or even both. Indigenous peoples have a connection with the land, waters and skies under Indigenous laws and Indigenous customs. And no imposed Citizenship Act has removed or modified that connection. No Parliament or foreign government has removed or modified that connection by any other laws or legislation other than our own laws. And because of that, as Indigenous peoples, we have the right to live out our lives in a peaceful existence with all our human families. We have the right to access, live and walk on the sacred lands of our ancestors so that we may touch the land, our mother, that has been faithfully cared for by our ancestors. We have the right to live off the bounty of Mother Earth, and we have the right to be who our Creator made us to be and live in the freedom of who our Creator made us to be. And so, Almighty Father, it is you alone who gave permission for this nation to be built on the soil that you gifted to our ancestors as an enduring inheritance since time immemorial. Creator, you have known us since the beginning of all things, since time immemorial. You gave us laws and teachings to live in harmony and love with all your creation. And we have made every effort to be responsible custodians of all you have bestowed upon us. Before that terrifying day in 1788, we knew who we were. We still do. We knew the boundaries and limitations of our habitation of our ancient inheritance. We still do. We knew our purpose and our responsibility and our obligations as ancient custodians to lovingly care for all our lands and all our people. We still do. Today, we carry inside of us the genetic memory of that knowledge and wisdom that you alone gave to our ancestors and elders who have carefully and graciously passed on to us as a sacred responsibility. And today we come to you with a repentant heart, a listening heart, an inquiring heart, a renewed heart, a heart that seeks to see mercy and truth come together, a heart where righteousness and peace are finally embraced, a heart that seeks a new pathway for our nation. This is our humble response to this day. And so grant us, Lord, a vision of your world as your love has designed it to be, a world where the weak are protected and none go hungry or poor, a world where the riches of creation are shared and everyone can enjoy them, a world where different races and cultures live in harmony and mutual respect, a world where peace is built upon the great principles of justice and mercy and grace and guided by your love. Give us the inspiration and courage to achieve your vision through Jesus Christ, our ancestor in faith. Amen.
Hello all, welcome back. Hope everyone's got themselves a nice feed from Elements over there and some snacks. Everyone's well replenished. We're going to continue on now, and I'm going to call upon one of the most amazing humans you could ever meet. The reason behind everything that's happening today. From the Sydney of City, Councillor of the Sydney of City, Miss Imelda Davis, Councillor Davis.
Thank you, Danny. Hello, all Geta. I'd like to, first of all, start by acknowledging that we're on Gadigal country, one of the 29 clans of the Eora Nation. I'd like to acknowledge our formidable Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander leaders here today. And indeed, this is something that's warmed my heart to see this to see this come to fruition, and all of us working together finally to really bring our communities out and speak truth to our nation. This is a great nation, you know, but we can't move forward without First Nations perspectives, cultural framework, and making sure we respect the people of this land. I'd like to acknowledge the elders that are here today, and Auntie Joycey Waimara, who's come out today as well, weathering the heat, and family, Gabby, and our Torres Strait mob that are just coming down the hill. I can see they've parked a massive bus over there. I hope they don't get booked. But anyway, also there's dignitaries here today, US Consulate and Vanuatu High Commission. Thank you for being here and weathering this heat. And so many wonderful, wonderful people that I've met along the way through the vast networking and opportunities that I've had over the years, but also as a City of Sydney councillor, bringing new people into the fold. And I just want to thank you all for being here. It's incredible to see so many faces. I'm a descendant of Australia's blackbirding trade, and I know we've talked a lot about history, but today is our day. It's really important to share the knowledge that Australian South Sea Islanders are the descendants of 80 islands of Vanuatu and Solomons, which also included Tuvalu, Kiribati, who's represented here today, Fiji, Papua New Guinea, and also Vanuatu and Solomons, of course, and New Caledonia. My grandfather was kidnapped at the age of 12. He was swimming on the beach, taken from Tana Uta, which is now the new name for Tana Island. And we have descendants of Vanuatu here, families over to the left there, and the mob that are coming on to perform shortly. We're incredibly grateful for the continued support of the Vanuatu government. I Comply horticultural specialists who are looking after our seasonal workers here have done a wonderful job in making sure that they connect with their Australian South Sea Islander descendants of Vanuatu. So I just want to congratulate them also, because they drove 10 hours to be here today. The same with our Solomon Island workers and representatives. They also drove some 6 hours, Peter Terry, just bringing mob here to perform, knowing the importance of that connection with First Nations people. And the fact that this cultural framework should be rolled out all across our nation, in that people understand just who we are when they're walking around our communities. You've got seasonal workers coming into this country, some 30-odd thousand, Vanuatu or Melanesia still providing the largest representation, Vanuatu in particular, 11,000+. Incredibly proud of that ongoing, economy building that our mob were first stolen from their islands to build this nation. Where we stand here is the Sugar Wharf. Historically, it's a receiving port. First impact for Aboriginal Australia. First impact for our South Sea Islander mob who cut that sugar cane and brought it here to the refinery to be refined and exported to the world, as Sydney being, or Australia, the largest sugar provider, or one of the largest in the world, one of the richest countries in the world. But still we don't know about our forebears' contribution, the history, and the truth. We want to be a part of this story. We are Australian South Sea Islanders. We were recognised in 1994 by the Commonwealth as a distinct cultural group who value our islands of origin. Never forgetting, lest we forget. But still, we're continually asking to be included. And through the National Australia Day Council, the City of Sydney, other supportive organisations, and in particular NAVID and the Elements Bar and Grill, who have partnered with us this year, we're going to build it to be a bigger, better and more inclusive event for everybody. Because Australia's built on multiculturalism. But don't forget, First Nations communities were the first multicultural societies, oldest living cultures in this country. So, we tend to think we're doing something new here, but it's not. Oldest living cultures. So, big ups to everybody, really. I'm really grateful to the board. And, another shout out to our Vanuatu High Commissioner. He's taken us to the next level, brother. Bringing in our customary language, bringing in your beautiful family to participate. Always Vanuatu government by our side, staunch. And we will never forget you, of course. But like I say, Vanuatu's always been there since the get-go. We're 175 years since stolen from our islands in Australia. Can you believe that? 175 years. And sometimes people are just hearing about it for the first time today. And that's okay. It's not anyone's fault. This isn't a blame game. This is about a truth-telling. And let's own this story. Let's work together. How hard is it? We're a family. It's not hard, but tough to must, eh? Just want to big ups to the board and everybody who's volunteered today. Unpaid work, eh? Always. But always will be. Always was Aboriginal land. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Davis. Next up, going to call upon Charlie, I Comply Horticultural. He's going to introduce you the Vanuatu String Band. Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you. Hey, how are you? Yeah, so I'm Charlie. I'm the head of pastoral care for I Comply. We bring over many seasonal workers every year. Our main goal is to become a family. These are my brothers behind me, and we're super grateful to have the invite from people like Imelda and Commissioner. Really appreciate it. It's a long way to drive, but it's well worth it. The boys are loving it, and thank you again. And all right. I hope you all enjoyed our music. Okay.
Australia. Mate angin au, tebu betoro anasa, nawa bangun roko aku, angina ne kube lorwana sa na wo muto ko ako mate wi angina kana mate angina ne kube lorwana sa na wo muto ko ako mate wi angina Yumi Number 3 ya. 3. Pyrmont ya. Pyrmont. Number 3 nih? Yuk.
So this is their last song, and they would like everyone to come up and dance.
Eskimo này.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. The I Comply, the Vanuatu String Band. Let's give it up one more time for the boys. And Charlie from Horticultural Compliance from Brisbane drove the boys 10 hours from Stanthorpe in Queensland to be here today. Thank you, guys. Next up, I'm just going to call an Australian South Sea Islander descendant, young artist, Tim Max, just going to come up here and he's got a few pieces that he wants to explain, and they are for sale, I too believe. Yeah, sure. Thanks, Tim.
G'day guys, how you all going? Hey everyone. Yeah, I'm Tim. I'm Tim Mack. So today's a good day for me. I'm Australian South Sea Islander. My grandfather actually painted this. He's second generation South Sea Islander. So his mother, my great-great-grandmother, was the first Australian South Sea Islander in our family. So this is John Allen. He's passed away since now. And yeah, this is my grandfather. He used to paint this in Niagara, up in Mullumbimby. And our family, we used to have a banana plantation up in Mullumbimby around there as well. My grandfather was born in a house in Mullumbimby, no doctor. Just like straight up in a house in Mullumbimby. I don't know much of my story before my grandfather, but my grandfather, I'm 6'3", right? Look, I'm big. My grandfather, he was this big man, dark, right? Big feet. I used to spin out. We had no idea where he come from. We didn't know what was going on. My younger brothers are both Bundjalung as well. So my stepfather's Bundjalung. I grew up with Koris my whole life. Yeah, now, after watching him paint these up in Niagara, he'd sit up in his garage and he'll paint with all his oil paints. I'd come out there, I'd even sit there and look at his signature, and like when he's not around, I'd be like, I'm gonna try to copy his signature. And I get the oil paints out, and I just fuck up the paint and sorry. Sorry. And then but I stuck at my craft, you know? So I kept painting, and then so today I painted this up here. It's kind of hard to see for everybody to see up here. But this here is called South Sea People. And this is juxtaposed. So these hollow chambers here are sitting over the ocean, right? So these 5, inspired by these 3 trees, these cylinders here, I've stepped up to make my contemporary make of this work. So I put this here, and I'm imagining and hearing that island voices come through the top, and here's Australia, and we still connected. Because we're still here and we're still doing this. And you can see that by me. You know what I mean? I'm painting this. This is from my mind. This is from watching my grandfather. This is from where I was born, how I grew up on this country, and who I am. Thank you all very much. And if you'd like to come, I'm going to be painting this painting over here on the floor so you can watch me paint it. I'll just be chipping away at it. So if you want to come around, have a yarn, come talk to me. I'm going to be painting this painted this one. Have a look. If you want to come up when the stage is quiet, come check it out. I'm proud of this work. I want everyone to see it. It's got a message. Love yous.
Thanks, Timmy. Next up, from Wontok Solomons, Mr. Peter Terry.
Thank you, Wontoks. Now I'd like to present the Solomon Island dances. I would like them to come to perform a few items. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the dances. Thank you. I hope you guys enjoy that. Too deadly, eh? One talks? Now, this is all love song that they're dancing about. The next one, watch them, watch their neck dance. Thank you.
Ram lauru. Watu wanataka gati tandakira jira kanti nitowari. Mau solo mio coso mama guru kwere bakuki jiruzima
That was one of the items. And that song comes from the Choiseul people. And now we're going to enjoy, they're going to sing our dancers song that comes from Tikopia.
Soro ki te moana e mako aki e whakafua Ko ngā manu e whakatoro I mata Toko soro ki te moana e mako aki e whakafua Toko soro ki te moana e mako aki e whakafua Ko ngā manu e whakatoro I mata Ono vai rangi te pote a o te whorau roto ngā masa Ono vai rangi te pote a Ono vai rangi te pote a o te whorau roto ngā masa Ono vai rangi te pote a Ane vai ara te whorau nei ne vai ara te whorau e wha Gamau e tohu se mane vai ara te whorau nei ne vai ara te whorau e wha Gamau e tohu se mo Poi poi manu te afua, whiki te manu taumaki Poi manu te afua, whiki te manu taumaki Ko ngā manu e whakatoro I mata Poi manu te afua, whiki te manu taumaki Poi manu te afua, whiki te manu taumaki Ko ngā manu e whakatoro I mata Ono vai rangi te pote a o te whorau roto ngā masa Ono vai rangi te pote a Ono vai rangi te pote a o te whorau roto ngā masa Ono vai rangi te pote a Ane vai ara te whorau nei ne vai ara te whorau e wha Gamau e tohu se mane vai ara te whorau nei ne vai ara te whorau e wha Gamau e tohu se mo
Thank you, girls. This will be their last item. Thank you, girls. Tagio for Suginau. And now we're going to have the boys. We'll see what the boys going to put out for us. Thank you.
Nilisi pula po patay na toa
Thank you, boys. Did you enjoy that? You guys been sitting down or been standing too long? Now we're gonna have the farewell dance. I'll invite all of you guys that wanna give it a bit of a shaky. Now come up and do the final dance with them. Sarah? Okay. Yeah. Well, that's the one that they're gonna come up and dance with you guys. Then you walk out and everybody follow them. Anyone wants to have a dance? Can come up. Can you hear me out there? Oh. Test yours. Test. Microphone check.
Microphone check. Can you hear me? James?
Good afternoon. We are from the Torres Strait. We're called Kerker Maikuik. So that means the next generation. So everyone here is my children, grandchildren, and children's children. So it's all about the next generation. So where we come from, our culture is oral history. So it's all spread by word of mouth. So it goes from father to children, father and mother to children. And this is what our dance group is all about, the next generation. So we got the kids here to show you what has been passed down to them. So sit back and enjoy. Thank you.
Kikeriba. Oh, passer das merda. Na norbare. Na norbare.
That pedal dance is about coming home, our ancestors coming home from trading. When they're coming home from trading, they can see what we call Zalber is the wave. Through the wave, they see the whole passer, the hill, we call Karaget, home. That's when they pedal fast to come home after a successful trade. The next one I'm going to do is called Karawere. Amina dawa engrema damako kara awere kara nerke Amina dawa egrema damako
Go! Hey, Pepe, Pesalop, hey, Pepe, Pesalop, my body say, poi, one, poi, one, poi, one, poi, one, po, Pepe, Pesalop, Pesalop, Pepe, Pesalop, my body say, poi, one, poi, one, poi, one, poi, one, po, Pepe, Pesalop. Pepe Pesalo, Pepe Pesalo, my body say, poi, one, poi, one, poi, one, poi, one, po, Pepe Pesalo.
Boys, get ready? Let's go.
One more. Hey, oh, oh, ah, me. Hey, ah, hey, Nalaro. Ah, Musere. Hey, ah, hey, Nalaro. Stop him! To etete maile o le epe tuaruae ikama ikama ika ikama ikama ika ai ai ole te maile o le epe tuaruae ai kama ikama ika e kama ikama ika ai ai e ole to te maile o le epe tuaruae. Stop him! Ora samari pulantamani tamani tamani mari pulantamani tamani tamani mari pulantamani tamani ora samari pulantamani tamani tamani mari pulantamani tamani tamani mari pulantamani tamani ora samari pulantamani. One more. Hey, tamani tamani mari pulantamani tamani tamani mari pulantamani tamani ora samari pulantamani. And them ora samari pulantamani. Give me 5.
Limbarki.
Limbarki au paremgen. Tone kaseredi lage wakide ikete. Oh no go ya ekmedi. Limbarki au paremgen. Tone kaseredi lage wakide ikete. Oh no go ya ekmedi. Guria. Nage what bige ikete. Oh no Guria ikmede.
Hang on, we're just going to have a drink. Getting a bit thirsty here, the old fellas. Old fella getting a bit thirsty. Hang on, kids. Righto, ready. Sorry about that. Hey, 1, 2, 1, oh. 1, 2, 1, oh. Kulokala tubunu. Hey, lawa maika ke. Lawa maika ke. Kelai kelao. Go. Hey, 1, 2, 1, oh. 1, 2, 1, oh. Kulokala tubunu. Lawa maika ke, lawa maika ke, ke lai, ke lao. 1, 2, hey! Hey, 1, 2, 1, oh. 1, 2, 1, oh. Kolo kala bono. Hey, lawa maika ke, lawa maika ke, ke lai, ke lao. 1, 2, hey, 1 more. Hey, 1, 2, 1, oh. 1, 2, 1, oh. Kolo kala kubunu. Hey, lawa maika ke, lawa maika ke, ke lai, ke lao. 1, 2, and them, hop, hey. Yumi no mo bala and sissy now. Yumi no mo what you and a boy now. You come to we bolo me. Me sissy bolo me. You bolo me. Me anti bolo me. And you our bolo me. And so. You me no more bala and a sissy now. You me no more what do and a boy now. You come to we bolo me. Me sissy bolo me. You bolo me. Me auntie bolo me. You our bolo me. And so you me no more bala and a sissy now. You me no more what do and a boy now. You come to we bolo me. Hop. 1 more. Me sissy bolo me. You bala bolo me. Me auntie bolo me. And you our bolo me. And so you me no more bala and a sissy now. You me no more what do and a boy now. You come to we bolo me. Okay, everybody sit down. Nar worry.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got two more dances.
That's the last one.
Huh? Oh, you go too. Huh?
Weather warning. Rain, storm coming.
Yeah, we're going to get smashed apart.
Oh, so it's the last one. We'll do the last one.
Like smashed.
Yeah.
No. And then with this one.
So last one. You sukan? No, sukan no.
Last one. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you.
Imelda and everyone today for inviting us. I was reared up by a Torres Strait dad, Charlie Tabuai, from Saibai Island. And in '92, when I worked at the Arts Council, we went to Rarotonga and took 3 groups from the Torres Strait, Murray Island, Saibai Island, and I'm trying to think of the other one. But anyway, I learned a lot about that. And I always remember a bloke called Wilfred Tapau, and he taught me how to say good night, which meant Debaki. But I was so proud to be reared up by this Torres Strait man, Charlie Tabuai, who reared me up as his own. Didn't matter that I was Aboriginal. And anyway, today my late brother, his son, it's his birthday. So there you are. Happy heavenly birthday to my baby brother. And how blessed were we to have this great man, Charlie, look after us, because we were part of the Stolen Generations. And I remember coming into Cairns Airport, and he was waiting at the airport in his calico. And he says, my little baby girl, but I was big. But that's what it means. It's love, and love conquers all. Yes. Doesn't matter whether you're Aboriginal, Torres Strait Islander. And I came to learn about my South Sea Islander heritage today. And this lady here, well, we're just blessed to have known her. So thank you. Anyway.
Deadly. Auntie Shirley Lomas, everyone, one of our staunch activists.
And I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of this land and pay my respects to the Eora people, the Gadigal people, the elders, the past, present, and future. Well, I would like to introduce the Dominida Cow to you this afternoon. These are the best Fijian singing group here in Sydney. Yavala Matewai and Turks Tuimamba. Watisoni Motumbula and Isoa Tambaiwalu. Enjoy, folks, and please make use of the music and dance till, probably 30 minutes or so. If the storm is still up there, enjoy. Dominida Cow.
Sobolei ia sa sobolei na soko wasayaniwe iko isalei lia awangarano mumatani viva menongo isaki ebe isinga unino mulenga andilia oile lia Ishalei lia Isa sobolei lia Điều rầy đi con đi con lại yang de bai. Ta tamu ni mo tu betul terau bai. Tomu ni sebuna tamu lo di begu wai. Tamu ni sebuna tamu lo di begu wai. Wai. Kere boca da vida please luba da glow. will